I ended up getting this book. Um, that book was written by him and was uh, talked about um, in a training that I went to. That basically the gift of fear is when people listen to what their guts are telling them. Um, and what it is so many times people are told um or are basically taught not to listen to what their intuition is telling them. Um, but getting into um, oftentimes they'll sit there and they'll do words that deal with titles of nobilities and what it is so many times I've just seen it happen too many times where basically the ones that are dishing out titles of nobility have had no intention on helping me. Um, rose-colored glasses deal with there's a saying that phrase dealing with having rose-colored glasses. But anyhow, what has happened is oh man. What it is so many times people will sit there and they'll let somebody stay with auntie so and so or uncle so and so, and what it is or so and so because they have a smile on their face, and what it is a lot of times who it is a sexual predator and is sexually abusing a man or woman minor. And once again, a lot of times there's something called denial. Oh no, not in this family. Oh no, not in this neighborhood. Oh no. And sleep disturbances, eating problems, sudden fear of being around whoever the predator is. That's the reason why people need to wake up to what's going on. There's a lot more sexual predation than people I've just I'm not going to go into the different lines of work that I've done. It's just kind of like a wolf. A wolf is not going to sit there and say, "Oh, I'm a wolf. I plan to gobble you up." Same thing with a sexual predator. They're not going to sit there and disclose what they're actually up to. A lot of times they'll end up using the word vulnerable a lot. It's just like reading a book. I could sit there and read a book, and a predator typically likes to read people. And it was really that's the reason why I'm like, there are so many of them out there that I have done things like studied psychology or psychiatry, and it's not for good reasons. It's in order to make them a better predator. An example of that is blaming a man or a woman who's been raped. Like, well, they shouldn't have dressed that way. What were they doing dressing that way? What were they doing in that neighborhood? That basically, instead of prosecuting who raped a man or a woman, instead of keeping a man or a woman that's raped behind bars, letting them out early. I mean, just think about the stupidity of that one. Same thing with what they've been doing is ordering a woman that's been raped to marry the rapist. That's rewarding shitty behavior. Well, that's done by the same ones that are breaking the violation of who are violating the separation of powers clause. And what they're doing is that I'm going to take it a step further. What they're doing is they're violating separation between church and state by going into the Old Testament and and cherry picking different Mishnah or Torah laws. Anytime somebody sits here and cherry picks stuff out of the Old Testament in order to do wicked, they're up to no good. These are some problems that but once again, they're using the word child's body, and they know that men and women have rights, and that's the reason why the ones inside of the government buildings called schools use the phrase student and child or client instead of calling having the word man or woman. It would be a man minor or woman minor. But not only that, the word male looks like the word Malay, and the Malay deals with the word evil in Latin. Just like the word Job looks like the word job. Just like the word Negro looks like the word Negro. I mean, there's a whole. It's And what it is when people are forced to go where they don't want to go, then typically they have to have somebody they're put in a position of being forced to do something like have to have complete strangers um, looking after a man or a woman. I mean, what would you call a government building called a nursing home? There's a bunch of complete strangers. I don't know shit about them. What do you call an elementary school? A bunch of complete strangers. My point being is people aren't being given full disclosure of who it is that's inside of the government buildings, and people aren't being given copies of any and all licenses for what the ones inside the government buildings are calling themselves. And what it is, there's something called an organizational chart, and that would give like full contact information, and basically, so I call them public servants. They're supposed to be my public servant. They have the keys to the government buildings that I don't have. So what the public servants are doing is intentionally forcing me to have to play guessing games. And that violates my right to be able to make informed decisions. But wow. 2 out of 3 men minors or women minors were sexually or physically abused, or both. Back in the 1970s. And what I'm reading comes from what is dealing with the introduction. I'm gonna I want to bring that up because some of them might tell me that I'm paranoid, but after having firsthand knowledge of what I have firsthand knowledge of, and the way that I've been isolated, and the ones that have done that have been up to no good. I want to bring up the fact that one of the first things that is done is typically a predator has a gigantic smile on their face, never discloses what they're up to, and loves to isolate. That's just phew. And never writes down and gives me what they're telling me or forcing me to do. Never. That's another thing. It's kind of like being in a roller coaster ride. That they enjoy it. It would be like them being given a new toy to play with. And what happens when people are given different toys? Well, after they're worn out, they're thrown in the trash. That they most definitely dispose of people. But basically, when they're not useful to them. Misplaced trust, but basically trusting somebody who is not worthy of being trusted. I was talking to a woman whose husband had cheated on that woman, and he had been screwing with prostitutes. And I was like, there's something about the word denial when people are in denial of different realities. Um, and with apprehension, what it is people people tend to trust predators. A predator can be a medical doctor. A predator can be a school teacher. A predator can be but basically it could be a predator can be somebody who who uses it that they're blood kin to somebody. I want to bring that up because from different places where I've worked, oftentimes it can be Uncle Johnny who likes to watch the kids, who's the sexual predator, who raped the children, who raped the men minors or women minors. But I also do not want to make it sound like women are not predators. I have talked to men who were raped by women. What was I there? No. When I was listening to what people were talking to me about, I thought that they were telling me the truth by a bunch of other things that were going on. Oh, but anyhow, I had a predator brag about how he could pass one of those, and not only that, he used to talk to me about basically being able to read people like a book. That he could sit there and look at somebody and tell by the way that they walked who they were. And I was like, shh. But once again, that's a personal identifier. I mean, that's what Alfred Kinsey was. What's sick is I think it was done, he was given funds through the Department of Education. That's another example of something that wasn't disclosed to me. That's the reason why it pisses me off, and it's just like, don't tell me that what I was forced to give was a gift or a donation, because I don't want to aid and abet serial rapists like Alfred Kinsey. I mean, think about that. But that's another example of forcing me to do something I don't want to do.